The one team we really didn't touch on in this mailbag, and we haven't spent a ton of time talking about them so far this year, is the Portland Trail Blazers.
Yeah. Well, first of all, we need to shout out our boy Josh Hart.
Yep.
The game winner in Miami a couple days ago.
Knox was very excited when he woke up the next morning to watch it. He's big on buzzer beaters, especially game-winning buzzer beaters.
What are your thoughts now that Dame is back, and they they seem to keep it afloat without him for a couple of games he was out.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of interesting things about this team. First of all, they're 7-3. They're a game out of first place, tied with the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns. I look at the loss column. They're tied with the Utah Jazz, the Phoenix Suns, and the Denver Nuggets and the Dallas Mavericks with 3 losses. This is clearly a very competent basketball team. I think both of us had them in the 9-10 play-in slot when we did our preseason predictions. Yep. They've certainly looked more competent as a basketball team than, say, the Minnesota Timberwolves or the Clippers. I think this is a legitimate playoff team. So I go back to 2018, right? That was the year they made the conference finals with Dame and CJ McCollum. And CJ's gone, but Anfernee Simons, we talk about him with Tyrese. I think he's got a legit case to make an all-star game this year. He's been fantastic. But if you look at their wing depth in 2018, it was Mo Harkless and Al-Farouq Amino. Those guys really couldn't shoot the basketball. They get to the playoffs, and they're doubling Dame, they're doubling CJ, and they're leaving those guys open. And they tried to add more shooting. And, Dame gets hurt last year, and they really had sort of hit a rut. And they've rebuilt with guys like Jerami Grant, with guys like Josh Hart. Justice Winslow, who can't shoot the basketball, has been fantastic on the defensive end. It looks like they hit with their draft pick this year with Shaedon Sharpe. He's been great. I mean, Jerami Grant's shooting almost 5 threes a game and is hitting 44% of his threes.
I was going to say, don't you feel like Jerami Grant was for whatever reason, was a slept-on acquisition this summer?
I don't know if it was Nate Jones, but it was somebody on Twitter tweeted this out. Jerami Grant was underutilized in the Denver offense, overutilized, essentially not in a perfect role, probably a role that was a little too large for him in Detroit. And to me, he's sort of in that perfect slot offensively, 10 to 15 shots a game. He's a tertiary creator. Kylie, you like that word, tertiary? Yep. Not the first option, not the second option, maybe the third option. You like that? And he's been efficient this year, and I like him in this role. I don't know that he was slept on. I think a lot of people were like, "Why did you leave Denver?" Clearly the bag. Obviously, the bag had something to do with it. A larger offensive role. I get that part. To me, he's in a great spot right here. Here's the thing about the Blazers that's really interesting, Tommy. According to DraftKings Sportsbook, the best teams against the spread, the Trailblazers are tied with the Cavaliers, 8-2, which means they covered the spread. Best team against the spread. Most profitable team. People that made the most money on bets on teams. Trailblazers are 5th. Bucks, Jazz, Cavaliers, Bulls, 1 through 4. Trailblazers are 5th.
I'm confused about the latter point. I don't understand why the Bucks are the most profitable team. I think the Bucks are the best
bets, baby.
Bucks are the best team in the league. But so I think the other thing we wanted to talk about with some of these splits is the Western Conference final splits with the Blazers, because there's a pretty interesting number there if you wanted to go over that. Yeah.
So the Blazers right now, their odds to win the Western Conference. And again, this is a team that with a similar roster, but now with more shooting and I think more wing depth, period. That made the conference finals. The Portland Trailblazers are plus 2,500. Those are their odds right now to win the Western Conference.
Who else is plus 2,500 just for comparison?
The Lakers, who look like a disaster again. That's a great bet. Those are great odds if you want to take a flyer on the Blazers to win the Western Conference. Again, you can find all of this information at DraftKings on DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app. Please see show notes for details. There's a lot of rules and regulations around sports betting, so see show notes for details.